We are looking at the history and the implication of satanic custom, culture, tradition, and religion in Igbo land, in Nigeria, in Africa, as well as other nations of the earth, using Nara Onateze community together with Ebreba and Achokin community alongside other communities of the world as case study. Custom refers to people's belief and behavior constantly repeated. Culture refers to series of people's beliefs and behavior brought together as a unit of practice over a period of time. Tradition refers to culture practiced over a long period of time. And religion is people's way of worshiping their God. Thus, actions constantly repeated forms behavior or attitude. Behavior constantly repeated forms character or custom. The conglomeration of character or custom as a unit of practice over a period of time is known as culture. And the agglomeration of series of people's behavior and beliefs over a long period of time is known as tradition. And religion is the people's way of worshiping their God. And people's behavior is being determined by what they believe or their religious stand, which may be as follows. 1. Polytheism. Polytheism is the worship or the belief in many gods. This originated on earth in man's quest to discover and appease his maker through his numerous sacrifices. The first woman in the history of the world to become a queen or empress in the world's history was Hatshepsut, the first daughter, who adopted Moses, the lawgiver, from where he wrote the Torah, also known as the Pentateuch or the 5 books of Moses, which include Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, was so idolatrous, so much that she cared more for the Egyptian gods than she cared for the great Egyptian power. We also saw Ashur, which was one of the cities built by Nimrod, being named after an idol. We also saw during our Syrian power Sennacherib, after mocking King Hezekiah and God's intervention by the angel of the Lord, he became frightened and ran into the house of his God, where he was co-murdered by some of his sons. We also saw during the period of the Philistines carrying the ark of God to their temple. After the death of Hophni, Phinehas, that brought about the death of Eli, and finally Hophni's wife, who delivered as a result of the tragedy, and called the name of the child as she was dying Ichabod, meaning the glory is departed. The Philistines took the ark of the Lord into the temple of their God, where the idol in the morning fell flat before the ark of the Lord. The following day, they rose it up and repositioned it in its place. Coming back the other day, behold, their God was on the ground, broken, its hands off, and its head off. We could also see Daniel refusing to eat of the king's delicacies, consequent upon the fact that the food was being offered to idols before it would be offered to human beings. And from this, we saw that so many people and nations of the earth believe in polytheism as it continues till death. Secondly, we have pantheism. Pantheism refers to seeing God in everything, both in animate objects like lion, lizard, elephant, etc., and in inanimate objects such as the sun, the moon, the stars, mountains, water, etc. The believers of this also believe that one day people that can reincarnate into both animals and inanimate objects such as cats, lizard, tree, wood, stone, etc. We also have monotheism. Monotheism is the belief in one God, the creator of the whole universe. The descendants of Ham, Shem, and Japheth, from whom all the nations of the earth descended, decided to build a tower that will reach heaven in quest for the one true God, as to constantly communicate with the God of heaven. We also saw Joseph became the prime minister of Egypt. Thus, Egypt worshipped one God. And after the death of Thutmose III, who perished in the Red Sea, other Egyptian kings like Amenhotep II, Amenhotep III, Amenhotep IV, who was also known as Ignatun, were known for their belief in one God. The first Athenian lover of wisdom, or one who teaches about nature by observing and thinking about them, known as the philosopher Socrates, was executed to death by the Athenian government, consequent upon his belief and teaching on one God, which was contrary to the Athenian, Spartan, and generally Greek polytheic laws and myths. Socrates, who observed nature by thinking about them, was moving from places to places in the marketplaces and symposia, preaching his belief in one God. Using his interrogative method of communicating his belief, in which he kept questioning the people on which of the many gods of the Greek actually created man, and how they could prove so. After some times, Socrates started getting a lot of youths as his disciples, which attracted the attention of the government who arrested and put him in prison. Even in the prison, Socrates kept preaching his belief in one God to the prison warders and the friends who visited him in the prison. Socrates refused to gain his freedom by escaping from the prison even when he had opportunity to do so. Neither did he accept getting his freedom by giving up his preaching, and so kept preaching until he was made to drink hemlock, which was the Athenian means of executing death sentence. The Athenian government martyred Socrates, not knowing that they had killed one of their most important and famous citizens. Socrates, the first philosopher in the history of the world. After the death of Socrates, Plato, one of his disciples, also from Athens, surfaced and continued preaching on one God, using dialogue to communicate his philosophy. It was Plato that put down the beliefs and preachings of Socrates. After Plato came one of his pupils, known as Aristotle, who was not of Athenian origin, but was vast in his thinking and observation of nature. Thus, the earliest philosophers believed and teaches about one God, unlike the modern philosophic rascals who hide under philosophy to display their rebellion against their maker. Atheism. Atheism is the belief in evolution, or that there is no God, as the scriptures have said, for the fool has said in his heart that there is no God. The atheist, trying to reflection their already weakened conscience to a dead conscience, or conscience sealed with rod or hot iron over their psychological laws of cause and effect, tried to postulate what was known as the hypothesis or theory of evolution, asserting that the earth was once so hot, and after some millions of years it started cooling, and in the process of cooling, a single cell organism or unicellular organism like scum that can be found in pools and in water places today formed. And after several years, this unicellular organism evolved into toad. And from toad, after several years, it evolved into reptiles. And from reptiles, after several years, it evolved into ape. And from ape, after several years, it finally evolved into human being. What a funny myth. Several questions arose from this, which has rocked the mind of the atheist, as they are unable to profound answer or to give answers to them, such as one, who created the earth that became hot? Secondly, what made the earth to become hot? Thirdly, if man is actually, or life actually, the product of evolution, what other creatures can be deductively said to evolve from this process? Fourthly, if man is the product of evolution, what has stopped the earth from continuous cooling? If man is the product of evolution, why has man remained Homo sapien after thousands of years of man's existence on earth? If man is the product of evolution, why is there a regular and consistent, systematic genetic means or system of reproduction that has continued ever since the history of man on earth? One of the atheists trying to answer the first question on what made the earth that became hot said, it just appeared before my eyes, which was a very good answer, because Socrates said, for one to be wise, he must first discover his ignorance. We all just woke up one day to see the whole earth and the beautiful things in it. We woke up one day to see the sun, to see the moon, to see the stars, and other beautiful things of the earth. Yet, we all proceed to find out who our parents are, who our mother, our father are. We ask, who is our father? Who is our mother? Even some that may probably come consequent upon laboratory experiments must come from the fertilization of both the male and the female organisms, such as the sperm and the ovum, male sperm and the female ovum. Have you seen millions of people that have been destroyed consequent of this? Some people indulge into homosexualism, others into lesbianism. Can you tell me any of these people, or help me ask them, any of the lesbians that came into this world through lesbianism, or the homosexuals that are the product of homosexualism, or even those indulging on gay marriage that are products of gay marriage? These people try to deny the unborn children their right to be born into this earth. Their own parents gave them the right and the opportunity to be born into this world. But they purposely decided to deny the unborn children their own right of existence. Whereas your human rights law remains so long as it does not infringe into the right of another person. Some of these people go as far as making abortion a normal or day-to-day activities, or not consequent upon problematic pregnancies such as autopsy, etc. But just because of will or for pleasure, not knowing that abortion is killing. Even fetus is a kid. And it is consequent upon this that the Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed. Talking about this, Paul said in the book of Romans, chapter 1, from verse number 17, I read, "For therein is the righteousness of God revealed from faith in faith, as it is written, the just shall live by his faith. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who hold the truth in unrighteousness, because that which may be known of God is manifest in them. For God has showed it unto them. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imagination, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into the image made like the corruptible man, and to birds, and four-footed beasts, and creeping things. Wherefore God also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves. 25. Who changed the truth of God into a lie, and worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever and ever. Amen. For this cause God gave them up unto vile affection, for even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the women, born in their lust one towards another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error, which was meet. 28. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to reprobate mind, to do those things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debates, deceit, malignity, whispers, backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, proud, boasters, investors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of God, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do sin, but have pleasure in them that do them.